Thank you. Happy to be here. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, so we try to give everyone the same exact interview. And
Okay.
probably doesn't happen exactly, but we have a list of questions. We'll take turns asking you the questions. There's no right or wrong answer. You can, if there's something you want to insert anywhere, feel free to insert it anywhere in our discussion today. And we're not making a decision today. It'll be probably later this week, and then the full board makes the final decision in December.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
So we'll start with Ashley.
Okay, how do you say your last name?
Kreitcher.
Kreitcher, thank you. Well, thanks for being here. The first question is just tell us about yourself and why you are specifically interested in becoming a member of this committee, and you are signed up to I can't finish my sentence. Parks and Rec, and also tell us your favorite county park.
All right. So my name is Erin Kreitcher. I've been developing renewable energy projects for the last 16 years. I work for Invenergy. Not here as a pitch for them, but because of that, I've been really focused on the permitting of large-scale wind and solar projects. My specific role is working through the permitting process and real estate aspect of the projects. So I've spent a lot of time over the years in different county meetings, township meetings, working with the local officials on that process. It's sure where maybe I've heard in the media, pretty big undertaking for those large projects. So I really have a lot of experience on land use subjects, and I thought that this committee in particular would be interesting to me. I've been watching some of the meetings online. It's obviously different, a bit different than what I'm used to doing, but maybe a little bit more fun. And just haven't really gotten involved in my own community much. We've been here, I live here with my husband and 2 young girls. We've been here for 8 years, and I spent a lot of time in other courthouses, and maybe some of my skills could be applied here to just be helpful in Grand Traverse County.
Great, thanks.
Have you ever done a project on parkland?
No, I
Okay.
have not. All my projects have been on private property. And I failed to answer your second question. My favorite park, we live right near the Civic Center park, so we spend a lot of time there. My oldest daughter is in travel softball, so we are there a lot. Awesome. And really grown to like that spot.
Cool, thank you.
So in your opinion, what are the functions of this board, and what strengths will you offer to build a balance of expertise?
My understanding is helping to review future of parks in the county and different ideas that come across. I think weighing in from the public aspect, what's the best use of the land. I know that these are very valuable resources that we have nearby, and want to make sure that those are used and protected. And so I think my skill set being on the land use end is helpful in thinking through that process. I'm been in many situations where we have to weigh the pros and cons of different land use subjects, and I understand that it's not always you don't always win with everybody, but trying to do what's best for the long-term use of the land.
What business expertise, you touched on a little bit, have you acquired in your current and past employment that's going to be beneficial in providing guidance to the Parks Board?
Besides the, again, I don't want to keep repeating the word land use, but besides that, I think it is a matter of weighing controversial issues, working through the public process, and really taking consideration from both sides. The projects I work on are very controversial. We have folks that are very passionate for and against. I hope that none of the parks issues become that controversial, but but I think just trying to be a bit of a neutral party and trying to weigh all the different sides, and again look out for the long-term use of the land.
Talk about closing the pool and watch the people come out.
All right, so have you attended any of the board's meetings or done research regarding the specific board?
I have been watching online, but I have not actually attended any meetings. And again, I'm just really looking to get involved locally. So I've been trying to kind of look around at different committees and what might be applicable for kind of my skill set and my background. If there's another one that I have something else that you're thinking of that I have missed, I would be more than happy. I'm really just looking to kind of see where I can contribute.
Were there any of the topics that came up at the boards at the meetings that you watched that were specific interest to you?
My children and I were very excited about the Civic Center discussion recently and the Norte expansion, and just, you know, excited to see kind of that park revitalized a bit, potentially. So that was kind of the main one that stuck out.
Okay, thank you.
Great, maybe just share a little bit about, let's see, I guess are we jumping around again?
Whatever.
Sounds like you're a year-round resident, but that's the question is, are you a year-round resident and can you commit to attending the parks meetings and any additional time for special committees or projects?
Yes, year-round resident and available.
How would you seek views and opinions from staff and or the community on topics being addressed by this board?
I think building relationships is a key part of anything. So I think getting to know the folks that are involved in the process and you know, seeking input, getting different types of feedback from different angles, I think is really important to make a wise decision and a recommendation. So I think just trying to be open with people, you know, welcoming to the conversations is kind of a huge part of it. I don't know what specific avenues you have in place to do that, if there is anything specific that you prefer, but
Well, the Parks Board does surveys, different things over time, nothing regular, but this question's more like, you know, you personally, you know, how do you listen in the community?
I mean, this would be a new experience for me being on a committee. I'm on a board through Michigan Department of Ag, which is a little bit of a different listening exercise, I'd say, more statewide. And I'm also on another energy board, so through that we do, I'm accustomed to folks reaching out to talk about different topics. But I mean, in this process, I think it would be a lot more local, and I would try to seek input from folks around me. I would imagine I would be, you know, I would want to make sure I know the rules with the county attorney and that I'm not breaching any, you know, breaking any rules, of course, but I mean, to the extent possible, I would want to utilize like our school network and talk to folks around me and kind of my circle and try to branch out from there, I suppose.
So, last question, at least on our sheet. Do you have any personal or professional connections with either members of the county commission or business ties with any county commissioners or the county government that you feel you should say?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have anything that you'd like to tell us that you haven't had a chance to about yourself, maybe your family, why you're here, any of that kind of stuff that would help us in making our decision toward finding good board members for our board?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just say that I am interested in kind of a long-term investment locally. We're not going anywhere, and I really do want to kind of get to know more people in the county and learn more about the topics that are of interest and importance to the county beyond what I see in the newspaper or in the media and talking to friends. So I guess just trying to get a more educated understanding of the concerns in the county and provide input and recommendations where I can. Again, we spend a lot of time in the parks, a lot of softball games and things, and really appreciate what we have here in the county and want to be helpful if I can be.
Parks is probably the most sought after, parks and the airport, those two, like, lots of people want to get involved with those two, so there's always lots of applicants, and it's really tough to sit on this side of the table, because like, you'd be an awesome parks member, right? And so would everyone else, so we've got to kind of figure out where to find that balance. But I want to encourage you to continue, if you're not appointed, selected by the Board of Commissioners, the Parks does have a committee that they appoint, which is the Business Development Committee. They put a citizen person on. So it's another way to possibly get involved. And then just, you know, if you don't get it, do keep applying, do keep seeking to get involved.
Okay, yeah, that's great to hear, and I'm sure there are many applicants who have much better expertise in these specific parks in the county than I do, so.
It's not always better, it's sometimes just different, like,
Yeah.
we try to make a well-rounded, you know, you can't have all bankers on a board, you know,
Right.
you have all, you know, community advocates on the board, it's, you know.
A mix, yeah. It sounds like you're a city resident, you're right there by the
Yes,
civic
yep.
center, so
That
you
is
may,
center.
also, you mentioned looking, you know, what other things might be applicable, I don't know if, I mean, city parks is another board that the city appoints, and then city planning, and like zoning and appeal, and that is, cause sounds like you have a lot of professional experience in that area too, so just throwing it out there for other things that we need people for. So,
I appreciate that, thank you.
And
Yeah.
Building Codes Board of Appeals, we always need people for that, because they never do anything, there's just never appeal that I've heard of lately,
for the county.
yeah, with the county, but you gotta have people on
I have a post-interview question if we're
it. Okay,
done.
we're done. Go ahead.
I don't know how often you work downtown on Wacker, or how often you're down there, but do you have a recommendation of a good, I'll call it a blue collar steakhouse, not the high end where you go in, but like a good steakhouse where you go in and get a great,
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm there about once a month. I usually go to my hotel and then go to work and then go back to my hotel and eat at the hotel lobby. So
Alright.
I don't venture out much, but and yeah, I don't know if you spend a lot of time there, but it's like the financial district, so it clears out pretty well around
Right,
5 or
right.
6 o'clock. But I know there's, you know, a lot of places over by State Street, but yeah, they can get ridiculous quick.
Right.
So I don't know that I have a great response for that one, but
no bearing on the other, right?
don't judge me for my boring work trips.
Yeah.
Alright, anything else?
No, thank
That's all we
you.
have.
Thank you, I appreciate your
Okay.
time.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe that Grace is here, would you like?
Yeah.
She is here.
Keep
Come
going.
on in, Grace.
I think so, yeah.
I saved you the walk.
Thanks.
She's been on one term. Thank you.
Hi, Grace.
Hey,
Good to
Grace.
see you.
Welcome.
Hi, come on in.
You can which seats.
Wherever you want.
You can sit behind us.
Yeah, we're in the corner.
Good to see you.
You
Good to see
too.
you. Did I sit on your first interview?
You did, yes.
And this
Or
is
this will be my third interview, actually.
your third term?
I filled a 1-year
Oh, you filled
vacancy
a
first.
partial.
Yep, so I've done 4 full, this will be the end of my 4th year. Yeah,
Thank you
I
for
think you
your
got
service.
Yeah, thank you all.
Through COVID and everything.
We haven't had any riots about the parks. You're doing great.
No.
So you know the drill. We've got a list of questions. We try to give everybody the same basic interview, and we'll start with Commissioner Walter.
Great. Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you for your service and continued service. The first question we've been asking everybody is just to tell us why you're interested in serving. And I would just ask, like, why are you interested in continuing to serve, and just tell us about yourself.
Sure, yeah, so I, my day job is an environmental policy analyst, so I think a lot about environmental regulation, use of green space, nationally for my work, and I think it's important to bring what I have to offer locally here to serve our community as well, so I think it's really just feels sort of like a great use of my time and maybe some unique expertise that others in this area don't necessarily come to the table with. I really love our Parks Board. We've been together 4 years, seen quite a few different folks turn over, but the core like ethos of just really trying to steward our parks well, I think is really strong in all that serve their time, and it's been a real joy to be a voice in that room. So yeah, I just looking to stay.
Great, thanks.
In your opinion, what are the functions of this board, and what strengths will you offer to build a balance of expertise?
great question. So we have John Chase, who I'm sure you all have interacted with before, as our director, who's now the director of Parks and Facilities, which I think is really exciting. He is a rock star. He really comes to us as advisors, but with really informed opinions of his own, which I think help us help him. You know, like, he's looking for guidance. He's not necessarily looking for us to make nitty-gritty park decisions, like sort of the case when I joined, to be frank, a few years ago. And so I see our role as an advisor, a voice of the public, really nice public input we've had, especially the last year with Camp Greilich coming online, and a way to interact with you all, you know, sort of like facilitate between Board of Commissioners and what's happening on the ground. Yeah, does that answer your question?
What business expertise have you acquired in your current or past employment is you think is beneficial in providing guidance to this board?
Yeah, so I've served as our committee chair for the last year, and as vice chair the year before, of what's now the strategic planning committee. It was called the business development committee, where our board essentially brings in businesses, nonprofits, community partners, and discusses opportunity for them to really shine within the public spaces that we have to offer. So I have worked in nonprofits my whole life. I am not a business owner. But that being said, it's really about how I think community partners of all tax status can really shine and utilize what we have. So I would say stewarding these committees has been really insightful. We've sought out additional voices to join, to be a part of the discussion. We've talked about how business decisions influence what's available to our community through our parks, and I've really tried to create a well-rounded and robust network of folks that use, but also, benefit monetarily their businesses in our various parks. Primarily the Civic Center, I would say, is number one. Camp Greilich will definitely be number two. We'll be utilizing quite a few different partnerships there as well. So,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
So Grace, tell me about your experience on other, not your work experience, but other nonprofit, community events, community involvement. Tell me what else is out there that we don't know about. And offline, I'm gonna have to ask, I did not know about your trilogy novel. I'm gonna have to
For
find
sure.
out about
We can
that
chat
on
about
a
that
different,
too.
on a different event. That doesn't pertain to here, but
Sounds
what
good.
other community service type things have you
Yeah,
done?
I've done community service or like nonprofit event organizing for my entire adult life. I've lived in Traverse City since March 2020. So since then, I've been really trying to ingrain myself in the community and the opportunities that persist here. I've been working with,
Thank you.
the environmental groups up here, just again, based on the nature of my work. So groups like Flow and the Conservation District to organize different fundraisers or just help promote what they've been doing. I've also been fencing at our local fencing club, which is really fun. It's trying to get some athletic, just like exercise community members.
Take note of that,
too.
she's a fencer.
Yeah, be careful. And so I've done like Relay for Life team organizing. There was a Alzheimer's and dementia walk at the Civic Center that me and my friends helped organize. So those kinds of things I really enjoy doing. And I like using our parks, right? It's kind of like, they go hand in hand.
Thank you.
Is there any fencing in our parks?
No, very
Not yet.
specific places for safety.
Not yet.
There's fences around some of the parks.
Well, I'm sure this is a clear yes. Are you a year-round resident, and can you commit to attending monthly meetings and additional time for special committees or projects? So
Yes.
sounds like you already have a history of being able to do that.
How long you lived here?
Since 2020, my husband
March of
and
2020.
my husband. It's kind of a story. My husband and I were, we had most of our things in storage actually, and we're traveling quite a bit when the pandemic hit. So we found ourselves in Saugatuck in a rental that was about to end, and we had nowhere to go. So we bought a house up here as like, this is what we're gonna have to do at least for the short term, and then we never left. So got stuck
Your
love
husband
it.
works remote.
He does, yeah.
So where do you live?
We live off, kind of by Keystone Soccer Complex, so off of Potter, right by that South Creek subdivision. We're not in the subdivision, but on an old farm parcel out there.
How do you seek views and opinions from staff and or community on the topics being addressed by the board?
Excellent question. I think that's really important. So John also does this actively, which is really nice. We have incredible public comment opportunities that actually people are taking advantage of, which I'm really happy to see. So I have talked with him quite extensively about how we post our public comment opportunities, making sure that we access folks that use different platforms or have access to different platforms. So for example, we had a public comment at the BATA trailhead just maybe a month ago, 6 weeks ago, where we had probably 40 different people come, all different ages and abilities, to discuss the redesign that we're doing out there. That will be more ADA accessible, it'll be safer, you know, those kinds of things. So that's one example of many that I have joined as in my commission capacity, but also as a member of the public, and it's been really excellent. The strategic planning committee that I mentioned is also often frequented by members of the public to kind of talk with us in a more informal setting than what our board meetings offer, as I know you all deal with as well. So those conversations are often like this, you know, more of a round table where they have a seat at those meetings. We're not a decision-making body, so it's much more casual, and they can really kind of share their thoughts more in depth and ask questions. We can create a really interesting dialogue. So Camp Greilich, again, particularly, we've had members of the public come almost all of those meetings this year. And I think it really helps them feel like they have a say in what's happening and feel more comfortable about the decisions that the county is making on where that park is headed.
So, do you have any personal or professional connections with members of the county commission or business ties with county government or individual county commissioners that you feel you should disclose?
No, I would say I've met most of you, but otherwise, nothing else.
I got one more question.
Mhm.
Epi, foil, or saber?
I foil primarily, yeah. It's really fun.
Foiled again.
Yeah, foil.
Do you have anything else you wanna tell us that you feel like we haven't asked, you wanna tell us that we can make our decision better? You don't have to have anything, but.
Yeah, I think I've shown value over my time there, and I really enjoy the work, so I hope I can stay, you know. Also noticing that there's a lot of other awesome people that are putting your name in the hat for this, so no hard feelings either way, but it's been a pleasure to work with John and the rest of the staff, and it's just something that I think is such a community asset, so happy to volunteer my time.
So, you know, I do not play Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm
Yeah.
going to read your blog that was called Environmental Procurement. What environmental procurement can learn from the economics of Dungeons and Dragons? That just,
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna have to read that. I did
maybe
used to play
I should
Dungeons and
say
Dragons.
I'm a big old nerd, maybe that's
Yeah.
what I should disclose.
Oh, my son-
Yeah.
Because that's really why you went to fencing, right? You
They're
like,
kind of, you know, they go hand in hand.
They do.
Live action role play.
Yeah,
Well, they
no,
don't have
I have not LARPed, not quite that far. But yes, most of my writing for my day job is trying to translate really difficult environmental policy information in easier to understand ways. So that blog is really about trying to make something that's a contract law, federally contracting law, like ability to understand and why we need to change it. So you'll see quite a few goofy blog posts, I think, when you Google my name.
Goofy's a good word, but catching.
I'm glad.
So,
Do you see the parks ever hosting a big Renaissance festival?
I would love that. Let's get that going. Yeah, that would be great.
used to be one in Traverse City at the
Yeah,
Commons.
it just takes a leader.
Okay, let's chat. Happy to-
That's all we have.
Yeah.
We're just having fun now.
Yeah.
There was one out here in Interlochen years ago that didn't quite
Yeah.
take off.
So excuse me, I have to run, everyone.
Yeah,
It's
no
just
problem.
nice having
Nice
some
to see
surgery.
you.
Got
There
you.
used to be a.
Good luck.
But
Good luck.
surgery
Yeah.
goes
NMC
okay.
barbecue.
Yeah,
His
coming out
surgery went
now.
well.
Thank you.
a taste of it anyway.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was more the battles, like where they'd have
Yeah.
the big padded and they would
We do that.
battle back and
Had a
forth.
few people address Renaissance, but it wasn't like the theme of the.
I went to the
Yeah.
one in, is it Brighton?
Holly, yeah.
Holly.
I've been.
Some friends of
Yeah.
ours took us and our kids, and I had no idea what I was walking into. I was like,
Yeah, it's wild,
Wow.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
it was interesting, and my kids were kind of freaked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if someone did it as a fundraiser, like pick an agency or a charity and make it about that.
For sure. There's plenty of other nerds up here that I think would love to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
Well, I
I
think
grew
it's,
up going to the one near Holly. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is fun.
I just said there was nothing I was ever aware of, and it was just,
Whole
I started doing some
world.
research at the time, there are people travel to those, there are bands and food vendors and other vendors, and it's a huge tourism thing. Brings people to an area, it's amazing.
Every weekend for like
Tony
5
DeMuro.
or 5 weeks now, right?
He never did respond to being available early, so.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Yeah.
You.
Thank you all.
You're free to
Great
go.
to see you
whenever
all.
you
All right.
Great.
Dismissed. Yeah. Thank you
And
all.
thanks for your service on the,
Yeah. Thank
on
you.
the board.
I'm glad.